This is a test, the tragic end. The life story of my friend Farah. Hello. My name is Aya Hani Maher. I would like to share with you my painful story, which changed my life forever. I was living a relatively normal life. My parents were separated, and I lived with my grandfather and grandfather. I didn't have close friends, although I was known among many. Then came Farah. Farah was my neighbor. Her grandfather's house was next to my grandfather's. She was 2 years younger than me. Her father died before she was born, and her mother married another man who raised her as her father. But she later separated from him, and her mother became solely responsible for her. After a while, her mother got involved in a case and went to prison, forcing Farah to live with her aunt, who treated her as her daughter. Our circumstances were very similar, which made us quickly become friends. We wore the same clothes and shared almost everything. Everyone thought she was my sister. But, despite our strong friendship, I was jealous of her. People loved her more than me, and I couldn't bear that feeling. Farah knew everything about me, and we used to spend a lot of time together in my rented apartment. She wasn't bothered by my relationship with Bishoy, the owner of the apartment. One day, she asked me for £3,500 to pay a down payment for a new mobile. So I gave her the money without hesitation. But after a while, I started asking her for a refund, and she was constantly procrastinating. On July 17th, Farah came to my house and we argued again about the amount. I was very angry, and in a moment of madness, I grabbed a knife and hit her in the side. She fell to the ground and started bleeding. I panicked and called Bishoy to tell him what had happened. I went down to meet him and Farah left us bleeding in the apartment, turned off our phones and disappeared for 3 days. After these days, Bishoy came back and called me saying that the neighbors complained about a strange smell emanating from my apartment. I decided to go back and told them that the smell was caused by rotten meat. When I entered the apartment, I found Farah's body had begun to decompose. I didn't know what to do, so I cut off her legs with a knife and tried to burn the body to hide her features. But the fire grabbed the carpet and extinguished it. I put the body in a sack and went down to throw it in a sanitary drain out of sight. I hired a tuk-tuk driver to help me. He threw the sack in the drain and took me home. I thought it was over here. But on July 21st, police received a report of a body dumped in a health bank in Esperbay, Tanta district. They took the body to the morgue of Al Manshawi Hospital and summoned her aunt to identify her. Her aunt could not identify the body due to decomposition and burns. So they matched the DNA fingerprint with that of her mother, and confirmed that it was Farah. The police began their investigation, and surveillance cameras revealed the driver of the tuk-tuk who threw the bag into the bank. He was arrested, confessed everything and gave information about me. When they came to my house and confronted me, I collapsed and confessed everything. I was arrested with Bishoy and we were tried. I was sentenced to death. And at the moment of sentencing, I found myself laughing at the horror of the situation, which further provoked people. This is my story, and I have received my reward in this world. My greatest account is still with God in the hereafter. Farah's life was full of suffering, but I brought her the most cruel ending. I pray to God to have mercy on her and forgive me.